Hey, welcome to the party. You found the Mouse Castle Lounge, your home for cocktails and conversations from the worlds of Disney and beyond. Visit us at themousecastle.com. Follow us at Mouse Castle Show on Twitter and the Mouse Castle on Facebook and Instagram. Your table is waiting, and drinks are now being served. Don't be shy. Come on in. Let's get to it. Here are your hosts, the keepers of the Mouse Castle Lounge, Tim Calloway and Anthony Reynolds.
Welcome to the Mouse Castle Lounge. I'm Tim Calloway.
I'm Anthony Reynolds. It is July 28th, 2021.
And we're your dose of Disney news, information, and commentary. And we've been gone for a few weeks, but we're back now. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. What's coming up, Anthony?
Jungle Cruise, the movie, had its world premiere at Disneyland. Is Behind the Attraction better than the Imagineering story on Disney Plus? No. And Disney is moving 2,000 jobs from California to Florida. All that and more in the Mouse Castle Lounge.
Well, this was fun to see. Disney is doing movie premieres at Disneyland again.
Yay!
Jungle Cruise. After, it's actually been almost 2 years since Jungle Cruise was supposed to open. It was originally going to open like in October of 2019. It got pushed back for a non-COVID reason and then got pushed back again for COVID reasons. And it finally is coming out this coming weekend, but they had their premiere at Disneyland at the Fantasyland Theater, and Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt, the stars of the film, were there. But they did that on, Saturday night, I guess it was.
I'm just Googling the Jungle Cruise runtime here. So Jungle Cruise is 2 hours and 38 minutes, and all I can think of is how sore those people's ass would have been after sitting on those Fantasyland Theater bleachers
seats
for 2.5 hours. Wow. Oh my God. That's great that they're having it there, but oh man.
Yeah. Well, when they did the last big Pirates of the Caribbean premiere, they actually built a stadium or stadium seats across from Tom Sawyer Island, where they had built this giant a movie screen. So that's what they did their premiere there. Of course, having it in close proximity to Pirates of the Caribbean made sense. I guess they could have tried to do it in that place in Disneyland where everything narrows.
Yeah.
And the biggest congestion in all of Disneyland. They could have done it right there. That would have worked, right?
Well, I think, didn't they, because I saw photos, did they, use it as a walkway? Because there was a lot of, photo opportunities of the people coming off the Jungle Cruise.
Mm-hmm.
They were all just kind of sitting there. It reminded me, at my prom's Grand March, where you're just sitting in a car waiting for your turn to go.
Yeah, I know. It's I'm not sure the exact logistics of that. But how they did make it look, it's it's right there at the Jungle Cruise. It's no, it wasn't. They did photo ops there. They did red carpet shots there, and they had this nice little parade of Jungle Cruise skippers, which I thought was kind of cute. But the actual screening was in Fantasyland.
Yeah, if they would have done the Pirates of the Caribbean thing, that would have been oh yeah, I can get that. They're probably walking, just over there. But when you think about it, Fantasyland Theater to Jungle Cruise is a little bit of a jaunt.
You're talking two extremes.
Yeah.
In the park. It's let's make them walk as far as possible. Although I'm sure Emily Blunt and Dwayne Johnson had rides. I'm sure.
Oh, there's golf carts probably galore over there.
What are your thoughts about the movie? I've seen the previews, and it looks like African Queen with a touch of Pirates of the Caribbean and a little bit of The Mummy thrown in for good.
I've seen the trailers for it. I'm definitely going to see it. Whether it's going to be my money is to be determined. But I don't know. I feel so indifferent about this movie. I don't know. It feels like it's trying, like you said, trying to be Pirates of the Caribbean, that whole kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think, another thing is, I do not dislike The Rock. I don't at all, but I feel like I'm getting burnt out from him.
because he can't do everything, right? He's doing everything. Well, it's so funny because both Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt have had this run of Disney movies. You know, Dwayne Johnson doing Moana, Emily Blunt doing Into the Woods, Mary Poppins Returns, and now they're
Hmm.
both doing Jungle Cruise. And did you know originally when they were first pitching Jungle Cruise, it was going to be a movie starring Tom Hanks and Tim Allen? The
Oh boy.
first proposal, when they first threw it out there, "This is what we're working on."
I
Um,
remember that.
yeah,
That was a long time ago.
that's been a few years, and it needless to say, it has changed dramatically since.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. My brother, he watches the Marvel movies and everything with his in-laws. So he bought the premium edition or Premier
The
Access
Premier
of
Access,
Black
yeah.
Widow. So currently his card is attached to my Disney Plus account. So I'm hoping he decides to watch this with his in-laws so that I don't have to pay for it.
There you go. And if you do want to see it, I mean, obviously you can go to theaters this weekend if you want to, but if you want to see it on Disney Plus and use Premier Access, invite your friends over and you can pre-order it and see it on Disney Plus for $30. And
There's
they'll be doing that. And actually, if you get enough people there, that's actually not a bad deal.
no.
But they'll be doing the Premier Access through November 12th.
Now there is a chance that this might be the first movie I see in theaters again, um, because theaters. I mean, I'm in Texas, so of course everything's just wide open, except for the Alamo Drafthouse theaters around here.
Mhm.
They closed when everything kind of went down,
Yeah.
and they have not reopened yet. And I am so picky and I'm so spoiled that I refused to go see any movie until I can see it at an Alamo Drafthouse. And it was supposed to open in June, then it was supposed to open in July, and then they pushed it again. So August 13th, they're finally opening up the Alamo Drafthouse near me.
I'm
And
excited
so-
about that. See, because the last time I saw a story about them, I maybe I misread the article, but I thought Alamo Drafthouse was closing, and they were done. I'm excited to hear that they're not. They're coming back.
Well, they filed bankruptcy, I think, as a company as a whole, but that's kind of just a restructuring kind of thing. But I think certain franchise owners were able to keep stuff open. So I know, like, the franchise owner of this one owns a franchise, I think, like in Minnesota even. And so all those franchised locations were all able to reopen
Mhm. Now,
tentatively.
I do plan on seeing Jungle Cruise this weekend, but this was kind of exciting, and this just happened last night. It has nothing to do with Disney. Well, I guess there's a connection. There's this 6 degrees of separation, I guess. But Thursday night, I'm going to a sneak preview of the Suicide Squad.
Oh, okay.
And I am that's really the only movie this year that I am super excited to see because I want to see James Gunn direct an R-rated superhero movie.
And it did like a complete like about face for me because the original one sucked. It really
it was awful.
bad.
It's awful.
When I watched that, all I could think about is how much money I spent to see it in IMAX, and I was so upset by it because it was so bad. But they've managed to. I mean, I don't know. It's not a reboot, is it? Is it a sequel?
It is
such a blurry area.
I know, because you do have a couple of characters from the last Suicide Squad movie, Harley Quinn, obviously, Rick Flag, another, that are going to be in this one, but it's a totally new story. It's kind of, it doesn't, I don't know if it's going to, aside from those characters, I don't know if it's going to reference the original Suicide Squad movie in any way. I think it's just going to be just completely standalone, and let's pretend that the other Suicide Squad movie doesn't exist. It's kind of like an X-Men movie. Every time we make an X-Men movie, we're going to completely deny that any other X-Men movie came before it.
It was weird, like X-Men First Class. Like I was like, oh, this is a nice, refreshing kind of thing. And then they did Days of Future Past, and I'm like, okay, this is a fun little, it's tying into everything. And then it was just, okay, now we're just back into now it's just bad again.
Yeah. But I'm really excited about the Suicide Squad, and to see a DC superhero movie that isn't dark and brooding and depressing. And James Gunn has an offbeat approach to things. He likes using color in his films,
Yes.
which I know is a big deal for DC movies. And he's got a great sense of humor. And I mean, when I saw the first trailer for the Suicide Squad, I was just giddy. It's like, oh, this looks like so much fun.
It does. It looks really fun. And then cause that's what it really needs, DC, is, a levity back into it. Like, I think one of my favorite ones they've done is Shazam. And I mean,
Shazam is fun.
Yeah, like it's not like honestly the best movie, but it was fun, and I think I watched it twice, both on a plane, but I chose to watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
So when it's fun, it's fun, It's so I'm excited for it, and maybe that'll be the movie I see.
Yeah, I mean, and it was, I totally fell into going into the sneak preview. Now it's one of those sneak previews where you have the tickets, but you have to get there 2 hours early if you want to get a seat, because they overbook it.
Oh yeah.
But James Gunn, and I don't know, I'm sure there were other social media accounts that posted it, but he posted it last night. It's like, oh yeah, we're going to be doing a sneak preview in select cities, and the tickets are free. They're doing at least in Vegas, they're doing 2 screenings at our AMC theater here. But I don't know if they're doing similar things in other cities. But after the screening, they have, I'm guessing, I doubt it's live, but they're doing a pre-recorded a Q&A with the cast and crew.
All right. I'm looking this up to see if there's anything in my city with this, because nope, doesn't look like it. But yeah, no, I had to. I feel bad. I had to mute James Gunn's. I think I muted the phrase Suicide Squad, because he just got to the point where he was retweeting everything about it, and I was like, this is too much. I feel bad. Like sometimes there's people who I follow, comedians and stuff, who are creators, and when they have something to promote, you're just like, oh my god,
yeah,
this is too much.
Well, this is one of the things that annoyed me, and I vented a little bit on Twitter the other day. Is they're kind of like you block phrases. I will just unfollow people that I find annoying, and there's one particular person in voiceover, I won't say who it is, who I just kind of was tiring of his shtick. So I unfollowed him. Well, he still has a lot of followers. So people, because Twitter being Twitter, other people that I follow, every time they like this person's tweet, it still shows up in my feed, so I see him anyway. And it's like, yeah, I know. If I unfollow him, I should also mute him or block him or whatever, but I shouldn't have to.
That's the
if
thing,
I unfollow him, I don't want to see him anymore.
And I had it, like, there's a theme park journalist that I finally was just like, okay, I'm kind of done with this. And so I unfollowed them, and same thing. Like, and it wasn't even like the next day. It was within like 5 minutes of me unfollowing this person, and they show back.
Right.
I'm just like, Twitter, shut up. Like and I don't want to go so far as to block these people.
Yeah.
I don't even want to mute them.
Exactly.
Why do you think I want to see these posts? I get so frustrated.
I had to mute him, and it wasn't like he was offensive or anything like that. It's just, some people you follow on social media, you just kind of get tired of after a while. It's like, same old. I'm kind of done with you, and that was it.
And the other thing I wish that Twitter, now welcome to Twitter Hour with Tim and Anthony. Is I hate that when you mute somebody or block somebody, if somebody like quote retweets them. So, like, if they retweet them but they're commenting on it, it'll be like the person's comment and then the person you blocked, this tweet cannot be displayed. I don't want to see that either. Just stop it. I want these people out of my life. I want to... What's that movie with with Jim Carrey and... Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. That's what I want to do to
I
these
love
people.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
I can't get through it. I've tried 3
no.
times. Maybe I need to revisit, but I've tried like 3 times to watch it. I'm just like, I don't get this. I get it. I don't appreciate it.
Oh no, that's like one of my all-time favorite love story movies. Oh my God, it's so good.
Maybe I need to watch it again. Maybe I haven't been hurt enough. I don't know. I'll try it again. I don't know. So anyway,
come on, it's Kate Winslet. She's from Titanic, right?
Yes, I love Titanic.
She's Clementine. She's adorable in this movie. Okay.
I tweeted the other day, speaking of Twitter and Kate Winslet, that I could probably do like a decade-long of weekly podcasts that explore whether or not my love for Titanic is ironic or not, and I still wouldn't have an answer.
It doesn't matter.
It's so good. Oh, I want to have this. If you want to listen, if you're listening to this and you want to do Titanic talk with Anthony, just let me know because I'm available.
Oh my God. You know, I do that occasionally. Of the many, you know, job sites, entertainment sites that I follow because of my voice acting. Backstage.com is one of them, and they have a pretty decent casting call list, but they do get podcasts every now and then, and producers, some production companies, and then you're just some individuals that are looking for hosts of particular themes or shows or podcasts or whatever. Anyway, I'll keep my eye out to see if Titanic ever pops
there's a
up
Titanic
on there.
podcast out there. I definitely I'm on board. So
one exists already. If we Googled it right now, if we searched Apple
What do you think I'm doing
Podcasts
right
and
now? Let me
iTunes,
see.
you would find it.
Titanic podcast. Here we go. The show about Titanic. Last Night in Titanic. There's a lot of the show about Titanic. This guy is I don't know if this is about the oh my God, the Pigeon Forge Titanic Museum has their own podcast. Oh my God, I want to go. I went
to go to there. Now, I'm not familiar with this. What is Pigeon Forge?
That's by Dollywood. It's like one of those like really super kitschy like tourist areas, like like Niagara Falls, Wisconsin Dells. It's a place that has Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Oh, okay. Oh, I love that.
But they
I
have
love those. When I used to live in the Bay Area, and they had one in San Francisco. That was just cheesy goodness. Yeah.
They have but they built like the front of of the ship Titanic, and that's where the museum is. And then they have it's in like a little pool at the bottom, and they have a fountain going off the bow, so it looks like it's going through the water. It looked really. Nice. I want to go. I need to go. I need to do a Dollywood trip and go. But there's in Orlando. I think was it International Avenue, International Street. I don't know, but they have
International Drive.
International Drive. I drive. I knew that. Okay. There's a Titanic museum that they have there with like artifacts and everything. But they have you can pay money. I don't know. This is before pandemic that I looked at it. But you can do a dinner in the Grand Hall or whatever, the Grand Staircase, and you can dine with actors who are portraying passengers on the Titanic. And it sounds so terrible, but I want to do it so bad. I want to rub elbows with John Jacob Astor.
There you go. Knowing what you know, that he's about to die.
He gets crushed by a funnel.
Yeah. Now, I do vaguely remember this years ago, and I think the idea crashed and burned, not unlike the Titanic. But there was going to be like a Titanic-themed hotel in Vegas. There was actually plans to build one, either on the Strip or downtown or whatever. And it just still struck me as the height of bad taste. But okay.
This is Titanic talk now. When I was a kid,
this is the and more part of the Mouse Castle Lounge.
There was if you Google it, you could probably Google it, Titanic bouncy house. So I can't remember where I was, but yeah, it was in my hometown. There was like a traveling carnival or whatever, but they literally had like an inflatable Titanic sinking that you would climb up one side and then you would slide down the other side. and it had like the funnels and
then on the ground in front of it were all of these doors just kind of scattered around in random formation.
No, it was just they had blue waves. That's what you would land in.
Oh God.
Yeah, if you Google Titanic inflatable slide, it's
and there's room enough for 2 people on the door, but they won't tell you that.
Oh my God! It's like as a kid, I was like, "Oh, this is amazing! This is cool," and then you're like, "Oh no, a lot of people died."
No. So anyway, we had this great segue, or you had come up with this, great segue,
so we're talking about
going
Cruise,
from Dwayne Johnson and Jungle Cruise into we'll just do it anyway.
Behind the attraction, because Jungle Cruise is. The Rock is the producer on Jungle Cruise. The Rock is in Jungle Cruise. He's the producer of Behind the Attraction on Disney Plus. And
there you go. Wow, that's the smoothest transition we've ever done.
Yeah, it was set up so perfect. So I have what's the word? I've survived the first 3.5 episodes of Behind the Attraction, and let me just say, I think it's terrible.
Oh no!
I initially had tweeted that I was gonna watch this multiple times just to get Disney to be like, oh, people are watching this. We need more parks-related stuff. But let me just say, this is awful. It's a bunch of. No, I have ADHD, and I can't even. It's too much. If you have seen the movies that made us, or the toys that made us, or the games that made us, I think was one on Netflix. It's created by Brian Volk Wise. He's awful. He needs to get out of the business because he's terrible.
Oh my God!
It's a bunch.
But tell us what you really think, Anthony.
So the Imagineering story is amazing. It's so good and informative, and the production value is just wonderful. It treated you like an adult. This Behind the Attraction is treating you like a little baby with keys dangling in front of its face. It is
shiny.
Ridiculous because it's like if you'd seen the movies that made us or whatever, it's a bunch of like interesting information that they just ruin with the way that they present it.
So it's not the content, it's how they're presenting it.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like, oh, cool. This is a... So they have a lot of people are complaining about the narrator, which is Paget Brewster. It's not her fault. It's how it's written. Because she'll like tee up a sentence and then they finish it off with a clip from an interview. So it'd be like, oh, this is, trying to think of a thing. I don't know. But basically, so the narrator says something and the interview will finish the sentence. And it keeps going. And then somebody I follow on Twitter, you probably Modern _ Folly on Twitter. He posted, "Hey, here's the soundtrack to Behind the Attraction on Disney Plus," and it was just an album of cartoon sound effects because that's all. It's all it is. It's just like if they threw in a fart noise, I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, here's kind of the difference. If you're comparing it to the Imagineering story. The Imagineering story was put together by Leslie Iwerks. Who is a great documentary filmmaker in her own right, granddaughter of Ub Iwerks, daughter of Don Iwerks. So, I mean, she's got the Disney legacy there. And when she did that documentary, this was pre-Disney Plus. She had been working on this for a long time, and she was doing it in cooperation with Disney, but it was going to be released as a documentary. And then, when Disney Plus launched, it became the perfect way for it to be distributed. Now you've got Behind the Attraction, which is, I'm guessing, is a production or a series that is produced entirely as a Disney Plus vehicle.
Yeah. And it's
and therein is probably the difference.
Yeah, it's sloppy. But there's like a lot of times where, because the episodes that are out now are Jungle Cruise, Haunted Mansion, Star Tours, Twilight Zone, Tower of Terror, and Space Mountain. I'm up to a few minutes into Tower of Terror.
And you just stopped.
I did. I was like, I gotta walk away from this. This is a lot. And
go see the Kirsten Dunst, Steve Guttenberg movie, and you'll get.
I have it.
You know,
but there's a lot of points where they show interviews with people, and you would like them to stick with that interview, and you want to hear that person keep talking, but it's like they have a built-in rule on this show. Okay, every 5 seconds, every 6 seconds, we have to cut to the next thing, because it never sticks with anything long enough for it to really be enjoyed.
So for people with short attention spans, this is your jam.
No, for me, I have a short attention span. I can't. It was too much. Like, this is really annoying. And then so, like the aspect ratio, sometimes they have like black bars when it's like, it's not a widescreen image.
Once the old footage, yeah.
Yeah, but now they have it set in like a weird frame that cuts off even more. It's just terrible. So I think in a day where you have like shows like Yesterworld and Defunct Land, this Behind the Attraction really isn't bringing anything new to the table, when there's a lot of YouTubers doing this out there for free. and it's more enjoyable.
And doing it better? Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah. What you get is, with this one, the plus is you get access to Imagineers, and you get access to footage that you may not have otherwise. But even that comes up a bit short, because in the Haunted Mansion episode, they do a lot of talking about the Haunted Mansion, about like the Hatbox Ghost. And you would think maybe in the archives they would have, because all we have are these like little snippets of video of the Hatbox Ghost. We can't find anything. And it's just, no, it's the same old photos that we've seen before. And then Star Tours, that episode, it started off about Star Tours, and then the last third of it is a giant advertisement for Galaxy's Edge.
Okay. Yeah. So it's definitely done as a PR marketing thing. Do you get the impression that that's its primary purpose, is not to inform but to advertise?
I think so. With Jungle Cruise, the first episode, I feel like they touched on it a bit. There was a little bit of promotion on it, and that's fine. But
and you expect it, yeah.
But the Star Tours one, it's like, this is an episode you said was about Star Tours, and why are we talking? Yeah, they went into the development of, Smuggler's Run, and they went into Rise of the Resistance. This is Behind the Attraction. You can give those two things episodes.
True.
You're just
and Rise of the Resistance definitely needs its own episode, as elaborate as it is.
So it's if you like park stuff, it's something. It's there. Definitely check it out. Like I said, at the very least, get them to make more park-related stuff. But, there's a lot of stuff on YouTube you're going to be more informed about. and then some of the information is just wrong. They were like, there's the story about how when they were building Disneyland, they wanted to mark all the trees that they wanted to keep, and so they sent some guy out with spray paint, and they spray painted each tree like red or something that they wanted to keep. Well, the bulldozer operator was colorblind, and he just bulldozed everything. No, it never happened. That's just a story that's just been, perpetuating for a long time.
Oh, okay. We need to get Jim Korkis on this. Jim Korkis isn't in the show, have you seen? Because he's always the guy I go to if I have a question about urban legends versus fact, because he'll dig deep and get the whole story on that.
No, but the one who was talking about that about the thing, it was Tim O'Day, and he's like a historian.
He is.
Like I saw him, he was with Tony Baxter at the Indy 25 event or 20 event that I went to.
I remember that, yes.
Yeah. And I'm like, out of everybody to be talking about this, sir, what are you doing?
Uh-oh.
So, but like in my head, I'm thinking, he must have been talking about how this was a story, and then they cut it. Because there's so many ways they cut stuff. And there was, I can't even remember what it was, but there was one instance where I'm like, they definitely took what one person was saying and they cut something out of it and put it somewhere else to make this person say a sentence that they never said. I caught one instance of that where the audio was just weird enough where I'm like, they're doing, this is bad. So I'm going down here. So the Space Mountain, this is the Wikipedia description. The creation of the thrill ride goes all the way back to the opening of the Matterhorn bobsleds. The episode also explores the different incarnation in Disneyland Paris, as well as it serving as the inspiration for Tron Light Cycle Power Run, which will soon open in Disney World. So that's going to be another ad.
So for the Disney history nerds like you and me, it's kind of letting us down. But if you just want PR about Space Mountain-ish related stuff,
yeah,
that's what we got. Well, that is disappointing.
Especially, yeah. So, I mean, watch it. If you like the movies that made us, if you like that stuff, if you're a fan of it and you're a fan of parks, you're going to like this. If you are a Disney park nerd, do not expect to learn anything new. It is what it is. 0 stars.
0 stars. Oh, my God.
I'll give it 1. I'll give it 1 star.
Give it 1 star. Give it 1
like
star.
I had to rate it.
for effort. Well, speaking of rides and the Imagineers who designed them and all that, Disney is in the process of moving 2,000 jobs, including Imagineers, from California to Florida.
Mickey's moving his cheese.
Mickey is moving his cheese, and it's a bit concerning.
Yeah,
I mean, Disney is already, is already trying to smooth it over by saying, well, that's less than 5% of our total employed staff. It's like, yeah, okay, fine, but that's still 2,000 people, okay, that they're basically being told the job is yours only if you move to Florida. If you're not willing to move, bye-bye. And it's kind of disheartening that Imagineering, which has had their office on Glendale going back to Walt's day, back when it was Retlaw and Wed Enterprises and all that. I mean, it sounds to me like basically the original Imagineering headquarters is going to be shut down. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, that was when watching Behind the Attraction. They talk about Imagineering, and I mean this was filmed before they announced that, and they show like the Imagineering building like a lot in these episodes, and every time they showed it, I'm just like, oh no, yeah. It's so sad. Like it's.
I mean, yeah, and I was fortunate enough some years back of actually setting foot inside the Imagineering building. I had lunch over there. And that was because it was across the street from the Animation Research Library, which I had gotten a tour of. And it was just one of the most amazing days. Got to see all sorts of wonderful artwork, like original backgrounds from A Lady and the Tramp and a lot of Mary Blair artwork and things like this. And back in the days when Lella Smith was head of the ARL. And she just took me on this wonderful tour, and it's like, oh yeah, would you like to have lunch across the street at Imagineering? Would I?
Oh my God! I would
yes,
love that.
it is. I still have my parking pass or my ID badge that got me into Imagineering, and it's like all I saw was the cafeteria. I mean, that's basically the only place I was allowed access. But it doesn't matter. I was at the original freaking Walt Disney Imagineering, and yes, I did go to Mickey's of Glendale. Another question: if they relocate all these people from Imagineering in Glendale, what happens to Mickey's of Glendale?
What is Mickey's of Glendale? I've never heard of such a place.
It's a Disney store on the Imagineering campus, but it's mostly Imagineering type merchandise.
Oh my God.
Yes, exactly.
Is it to the public, or do you have to get in?
You have to get in. They used to do, occasionally they would do special events that were open to the public, where you could go in. But otherwise you had to be invited in to see it and to shop there. Yes.
I'm looking at some of this stuff now. I want to go to there.
I know, but this is, there's so much about this relocation. I mean, anytime there's a disruption like this in any company, it's concerning. But the fact that they're doing this, it Disney will talk about how, it's logistics and bringing, putting their cast members together in the right locations, blah, blah, blah. The other part of it is Disney is getting over $500 million in tax credits from the state of Florida by moving there.
Mm-hmm.
Florida is a right-to-work state. California is not, so they don't have to worry about union issues. There is so much about this, and if you go out on social media and you see the discussions behind the scenes, there are little things like this that it just kind of eats at you. And we're all guilty of the, Disney needs to be a certain way and things, shouldn't change. But yeah, over the decades that Disney has been in operation, things change and we expect them to change. It changes at the park. But this one really bothers me. If Imagineering ends up being shut down in California, that's going to hurt. Or even if it's just a shadow of its former self, that's really concerning.
Now, do you think any part of this is due to how California's relationship with Disney, particularly Disneyland, over COVID?
I'm sure that's part of it as well.
Because I know that they wanted to open. Florida was open this whole time, So
yes, because
that was my
Florida
first thought.
Hates you. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It sucks. If I would pray that Imagineering wouldn't, like, the building itself, if they're not going to do any Imagineering in there, at least put like Imagineering related stuff from the Disney archives in there and open it up as a museum.
Yeah,
I would love that.
I would wonder if the ARL would expand because it's just across the street.
Unless they go to Florida.
Yeah. Well, that I doubt because of
the humidity.
Actually, that's part of it too. But also the fact that the filmmaking part of Disney is still predominantly centered in Southern California.
Well, I don't know. They used to have that whole animation studio at MGM.
and closed it down. We will see what happens. But the complex that they're moving these 2,000 employees to, it is a planned community called Lake Nona, Nona, N-O-N-A.
Nona.
And apparently this is a place in Florida. It's about 20 miles from the Walt Disney World Resort. But apparently this community is aggressively going after other companies. So Disney isn't the only one that's moving a lot of their operations and staff over there. This seems to be a move by this community in Lake Nona and the state of Florida to get bigger companies, to bring their business there, and we'll give you tax incentives, and you'll employ a lot of our residents. Anyway. There you have it.
And they're also Scientologists.
No, those are in California. There's no Scientologists in Florida.
Oh my God, are you serious? That's like they're...
No, I'm being...
Oh my God. Like, was it Clearwater? Oh God, it's Tom Cruise. And that will do it for this episode of the Mouse Castle Lounge. Don't forget to visit us at themousecastle.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at The Mouse Castle, and on Twitter at Mouse Castle Show.
And please subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever podcasts are found. It's the internet. You can do it. And we will catch you next time in the Mouse Castle Lounge.
See ya.